At no stage is very clear to me is the role of the president, qua president, contemplated by the provisions of that article. It cannot have been lost on a casual observer of our painful history that it was the imperial presidency that mutilated the independence constitution through unchecked amendments to such an extent that at the end of the day, this country had lost any pretensions to democracy, rule of law, human rights, or social justice. And by the early 1990s, the Kenyan people were terrified, tormented, and dehumanized lot, deprived of any sense of self-actualization in the manner in which they were governed. It was from such despondency that the people would rise to demand a new social contract, a new order that would not only restore their dignity, but also prevent the executive arm of government, if you like, read the president, and to a certain extent the legislature, from reversing the new equilibrium, from taking them from the paradigm shift to which they had cutted themselves. And so to this question, I have no hesitation in holding that the president cannot initiate a popular initiative. That takes me quite quickly as to whether indeed the president did initiate this popular initiative. It's on record, Vide Gazette notice number 514 dated 24th May 2018, that the president appointed a task force named Building Bridges to a United Kenya Task Force, or the BBI task force, if you like. This task force was composed of eminent Kenyans whose mandate it was to address the 9 key challenges facing the country. And these challenges have been identified in a memo of understanding signed between the president and Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Thereafter, the president, Vide Gazette notice number 264, published on 10th January 2020, appointed a steering committee on the implementation of the Building Bridges to United Kenya Task Force report. One of the terms of reference of that steering committee was to propose administrative, policy, statutory, and constitutional changes that may be necessary for the implementation of the recommendations contained in the task force report. It is out of which this steering committee that we now have the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill of 2020. I, on my part, find, although the High Court later described the task force as an unconstitutional outfit, I, on my part, find that there was nothing unconstitutional in the appointment or composition of either the task force or the steering committee by the president. What remains is whether the president can be regarded as having initiated the process that culminated into the bill that we now have. And in conclusion, I have stated that taking everything into consideration, all the stages, all the processes that led to the bill, I find it difficult to distance the president from the involvement and the initiation of the popular initiative. Therefore, I find that the president did actually originate this initiative. The conclusion deriving from this, I shall return to in my final conclusions. And now,